you a merry Brickmas, we wish you a merry Brickmas.
And now that it's spiraled out of control, and we've left Denmark, returned again, and gone even further back, I thought I'd just mention a few ancient sites here in Aarhus. Now we've reached the north side of Silkeborgvej. This area may look ordinary today, but many years ago it was part of a shallow fjord. Brabrand Fjord stretched 12 kilometers through the Aarhus River Valley. On a small rise just above the former shoreline stands Årslev-dyssen, a Stone Age tomb. It was once covered by a large mound, but today only the stone chamber remains. The capstone still rests on upright boulders, and one side is open for viewing. The site was voluntarily protected in 1870 and remains one of the few preserved dolmens in the Aarhus area. So where did all those massive stones come from? Well, the story goes, a long, long time ago, Denmark was covered by a massive sheet of ice, several kilometers thick, and with it came the stones, transported all the way from the north. Then the ice melted, and the stones, they were just laying there. So of course, hundreds of people are said to have dragged them with ropes and wooden rollers, and somehow hoisted them into place. On the way to the next dolmen, we'll pass a building I think we should take a quick look at. Anyone who's walked around Brabrand Sø or Årslev-dyssen has likely passed by the next building I'm heading to. I'm biking around the lake right now, so enjoy the landscape as I share a bit of the story. Constantinsborg is a manor house, an estate with a long history. It was named after Constantin Marselis, who owned it in the late 1600s. Before that, it was known as Stadsgård and can be traced back to around 1400. In 1583, it was transferred to King Frederik II in a land exchange. The king occasionally stayed here and used the estate for hunting. But the estate has also seen its share of misfortunes. In the 1740s, the estate was hit by the nationwide cattle plague, and in 1753, the main building burned down, and his 5-year-old daughter died in the fire along with her nurse. And the tragedies continued. In Easter 2019, the current owners suffered an unimaginable loss. While on holiday in Colombo, Sri Lanka, they lost 3 of their children in a terrorist attack. And now I've arrived at the building. I'd make a terrible journalist or photographer, because every time I arrive at a location, I only film briefly. I never want to intrude on people's private spaces or violate their sense of privacy. It's truly beautiful. The current main building was constructed in 1802 and later modernized in 1867-68 when a copper dome was added. During a restoration between 1999 and 2003, the dome was removed again. A small side note: not long ago, a woolly pig belonging to the estate caused a surprising amount of chaos. People thought it was a wild boar, and it was tracked and shared across social media like a breaking news event. Locals panicked, the police got involved, and in the end, a hunter shot it. only later did they realize it was just a very confused, very hairy pig that had gone out for a walk. And if you're just into birds, this is also a great spot for observing a variety of species, especially the grey heron, which you'll often see here. I came across this little moment during a winter walk. The heron had pulled its head all the way in to stay warm, and for a second, it almost looked like a penguin. We were surprised it let us get so close.
Kan du huske dengang, hvor jeg sagde, at jeg taget billeder, ikke vidste, om det var ægte, eller om det var...
Ja,
de står simpelthen så stille, ja.
And now we're heading toward the next dolmen, located just outside the old railway village of Ormslev. Originally, many dolmens were scattered around the former Brabrand Fjord, but today only 2 remain. There are many theories about the function of these structures. Some suggest they were burial sites for Stone Age chieftains. However, no archaeological finds have confirmed this. In Denmark, there were once between 30,000 and 40,000 stone dolmens. But over time, most were destroyed. It is said that their stones were reused to build churches, manor houses, roads, and other structures. And here we are at the Ormslev dolmen. Someone has recently cleared the grass, so the site is accessible, but it's still hidden. No signs, no explanation. The tomb consists of 6 upright support stones, 2 entrance stones, and a threshold stone. On top of the chamber lie 2 capstones. It's unclear whether the dolmen was originally covered by a mound, or whether it has always stood open, just as it does today. On the way to our next stop, we pass through this small, charming cobblestone street called Møllestien. And we are now entering Mølleparken, here where the old mill once stood, before it burned down around the year 1850. Something ancient lay hidden beneath its stones. A single granite slab used as a cornerstone, forgotten, buried, but carved with a face, bold, wide-eyed, and still faintly red with pigment. It became known as the Aarhus stone, or simply the mask stone. The runes around the stone tell a story. Gunulfur and Øgotr and Aslakur and Rolfur raised this stone in memory of Fugl, their father. He met his end when the kings fought. No one knows which kings, no one knows where. According to legend, kings were often seen as descendants of the gods. Especially Odin was believed to be the ancestor of many royal bloodlines, including the Danish. But let's look at this stone again. It says their father was named Fugl, a word meaning rotten or foul. It is a strange choice for a memorial. The Viking Age had many nicknames, but Fugl is unusually harsh, almost like carving, "Here lies Stinker, our father." And And we should remember that runes were not used only for solemn messages. They could also be playful, flirtatious, or joking. And the mask itself, if you stop thinking in terms of humans or gods, it begins to resemble something else entirely. The curling strands look more like tentacles or seaweed than hair. In Nordic folklore, there are sea creatures and water draga, often described as rotten and foul-smelling. It would be a bit like archaeologists one day finding the old graffiti "Kilroy was here" and treating it as a sacred inscription. Museums would display it, scholars would argue about its deeper meaning, and people would buy pendants shaped like the doodle.